dancing's hard. I've tried it.
I don't have any coordination to do that.
Well, the thing that I didn't know, did you know that the pole itself can rotate? Like when you see them rotating, it's a bigger pole on top of a smaller pole. So when they're gripping it with their leg and using their weight to make the pole go around, and they are also spinning around it too. But the pole itself, watch someone tell me that I'm wrong, but at least at the stripping class I took, the pole dancing class I took, the pole itself can move.
I think that would make it harder. Or does
yes, but like you have to know what you're doing to be able to move it. So
I see.
They give you this spray that they give to sailors to if your hands are sweaty, so sailors can grab, it's like salt spray almost, and so that your grip stays strong. And I was so bad at it, I just kept putting the spray on to the point where like the pole was crusty by the end, because I was like, this is the thing that's going to make it so I could actually do this.
Yeah, this is going to make me great.
Yeah, and
if I put the spray on.
No, I wasn't. I took a class with some friends because they have.
Why not?
Yeah.
If I were coordinated, I would try that class.
Yeah, and it was, you had to wear heels. Everything about it from start to finish was not my speed.
You had to wear heels.
Yeah, well, because it was like one of those things where like you're learning how to pole dance, which is fitness, but you're also learning how to like embrace being sexy, and that is not how I would go about doing that for myself.
I actually have so many questions on the topic. I want to quickly get to our tea for those who are sleeping with us at home, but I really don't worry. Are we recording? Right back to that. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Cool.
Yeah. So the tea that we're drinking today, this is Bird & Blend's Great British Cuppa. Mm-hmm. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Yeah. It's very hot, but you said off mic that you are like immune to hot. Like I have to blow.
Yeah, no, I was at a party where there was an outdoor fire and a fire poker that had been sitting in it, and everyone who tried to move it let go of it because it was hot, and I was able to just pick it up. So I think I'm just missing some nerves.
Yeah, apparently.
It's delicious, though.
I love this. I'm glad you chose this. So, yeah, it's Bird & Blend's Great British Cuppa. For those sleeping at home, boiling 4 minutes. This takes a little longer. Honestly, hot take, you could steep it for longer than 4. Go nuts. But I did it, 4.5. But wait, I want to get back to one of the things that you said. And by the way, just so you know, we everyone who listens here kind of like makes their own cups with us at home. That's why I let everyone know.
Oh, that's very nice.
It's fun.
I will leave the same tea bag in my cup all day and just keep adding hot water.
So let me tell you something. A lot of people expect that I'm going to come back on that and be like, what? I say this in almost every episode. This is a JFTZ. This is a judgment-free T-zone.
Thank you. Wow, I didn't know those existed.
Yeah, it does here.
Okay.
But I really firmly believe that the reason people don't drink tea is because it's too snooty, too many rules, blah, blah, blah. If leaving the bag in your cup works for you, that's great. I have no problem with that.
A little bit more caffeine throughout the day, just a little bit. And by the end, it's just hot water, but
it's delicious.
Yeah.
I drink hot water throughout the day.
Hot water with lemon, love it.
The one thing I wanted to go back to that you were saying earlier, and we do not have to talk about this if you don't want to, but it really intrigues you. You were like, the class wants you to get in touch with like your own sexiness, your own sexuality. I think I missed that course when we were all supposed to do that. Because like even in the most sexual of situations as I'm an adult, I never sit there going, I'm a sex pot. Like I don't have that.
I think they might try to lean into that more with women when trying to sell women's fitness classes, like
outside of the pole dancing, just any class,
or not necessarily. Like there's a certain like genre of women's exercise classes where the emphasis is on you're going to feel so much hotter and sexier, like as opposed to being like it's for your health, it's for fitness, or like for men it might be like getting huge or gains or whatever it is. I feel like they found somehow that marketing towards women that they're going to feel sexy works for some.
Okay.
I want to forget that I have a body at most of the time. So like, and I'm like, nothing makes me feel less sexy than being surrounded by my friends from high school.
Sure.
Trying to dance in a well-lit dance studio.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
So it's at a certain point, it was just funny to me to try, but it is like, whether it's like there's pole dancing or there's like aerial dancing with silks, where there's like this whole subgenre of women's workouts where it's like you're gonna be so hot when you're done.
It's funny when I was really trying to like come out here, and like I've done comedy in Chicago, but I was like a bunch of things pulled me to LA, and I was like, cool, I'm really gonna give it a go. And a friend's wife made a joke to me where she's like, well, like if it doesn't work out, if you're out in LA, you could always do porn. And I literally go, do you think I have a body for that? Like, you're aware that, like, I can't, if I fail at comedy, I can't just go, well, porn. Like, it doesn't work that way.
It might work that way now.
Yeah. I'll just like, hey, let's get a camera crew in here.
Yeah, I mean, you're already set up. Just sign up.
Have lighting.
For OnlyFans. It's very...
Yep.
I actually have it's a not dirty at all OnlyFans.
I'm sorry, what?
This is the reason I got banned from TikTok.
I'm sorry, you're banned from TikTok?
Well, I got a new account, but it was I had gotten a DM from a random creepy guy on Instagram, and he was like, when are you going to get an OnlyFans? And that same week I had to get a boob MRI. Everything's fine, but I had to so I had
was going to ask
the images from it that look like an X-ray.
Sure.
So I was like, I wonder what the process is to sign up for OnlyFans. Like, is it difficult? It's not. And then I just put pictures from my MRI, which don't look sexual at all. And then I sent the guy the link being like, oh, I got an OnlyFans because you told me to. And then...
tell me he subscribed.
He said he was too broke that month. So it was all for naught. But I got like 4 subscribers to it. And
for boob MRI.
For that, or it'll be like... because on OnlyFans, when it'll show the title of the picture or the title of whatever content you posted, it looks a lot like a Facebook news feed.
Okay.
But the image will be grayed out. So once you pay, you can see it. So once I saw that people are paying $4 a month and forgot, it's only like 4 people.
Yeah.
I'll post something with the dirty title, like me all wet and dirty. And it's a picture of me cleaning up like a spilled drink at work, but they don't know that, so they see the title. And they're
still subscribed?
Yeah.
You must have lost one.
Probably one, but I made like $100 on OnlyFans last year.
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, and I'll get DMs where it's like, haha, really funny, but seriously, if you ever want to post an actual titty pic, I'd love to pay for it.
And you're like, you'd know if I wanted to do that. If I wanted to do that, I would do. I don't need you to tell me.
Yeah, and I'm just like, so I do have one, but so many people do. All I'm saying is if you wanted to have one, you probably could.
Do you think that anyone does, and the answer may be very obvious, I don't know. Do you think anyone actually goes and like makes, as a comedian, makes an OnlyFans where they're like testing out material, where it's like not sexual at all?
Well, now OnlyFans is, they've filmed roasts and have produced content that's, because I don't know if you remember for a while, there was a big uproar because OnlyFans was going to get rid of all its dirty content.
Yeah, they were going to die.
And everyone was like, that's why you exist. So I guess they found a happy medium of they're now producing their own stand-up content. I'm sure they're also producing other stuff. I don't know, but I know they did like Whitney did like a roast on there, and they've released a couple specials on there where it's like, and I have thought about it. I'm like, do I post longer sets here? And I'm like, I can't figure out another social media platform.
I don't understand how any of this stuff works. And I think like the other challenge about this is, well, I guess before I even say that, for you, what is the ultimate goal to be just a working comic, like on the road, in theaters? What is the dream goal before I make my next comment?
I mean, the dream was always not to find enough to satisfy anyone on the business side, but I just wanted comedy to be my full-time job.
I think that's amazing. What's wrong with that goal? That's a great goal.
But they were like, basically the frustrating thing now is that the means to that end is you have to be famous on the internet. And not necessarily, famous is a high bar. It doesn't have to be because the internet is so hyper specific. Like you'll see someone who has 500,000, 1 million followers you've never fucking heard of. And it's like,
most of the time. Yeah.
So you just have to kind of find your niche, I guess. But it's like, I've now just sort of accepted that is the way to do stand-up full time. That's kind of how that goes. And I mean, I do like writing and doing other things, but stand-up was always that's the one I like the most. That's the one I've done the longest.
Yeah.
So anyway, what were you going to say?
Yeah. Well, but it ties in, which is like my goal was never, I want to make hundreds of hours of content that people are going to interact with every second and love.
Yeah.
That was never on my trajectory of like what I wanted. What I wanted, I tell people this all the time. My dream with stand-up is to be able to do stand-up when I want, where I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if it's a Tuesday night at 8 p.m., I can go to XYZ place and be like, hey, like I've got a free night. Can I do a 15-minute drop-in? Of course. Oh, you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it for me.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do it. I want to be able to go on the road. I don't need to do arenas. I want to just be able to go on the road and sell enough tickets where, oh yeah, we'll have you back.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of what I wanted.
Yeah.
So when I look at like now, in order to achieve those things, now a lot of it is tied into like, okay, but like how engaged are you with your audience and how big is it? I'm like, I didn't want that.
Yeah.
I'm good without that.
Or they'll be like, who is your audience?
Oh my God,
and they'll
I hate
ask,
that.
and I'm always just like, I mean, if you want to look at, and really because it is crazy how, because sometimes they'll have shows at the Comedy Store. I work there. I don't know if, but
which, by the way, I didn't know for a while. And I've known you, but I had no idea that you worked there until I saw you. And I was like, hey.
Yeah, sometimes I keep it, not under wraps, but like, you're going around, and the Comedy Store is better and far more. I feel like it's less intimidating now because there are a lot of comedians I like who work there, or that's the hope.
Yes, I will say like seeing people like you, when I would see like Jesse and Alex, Hannah, and when Bruce was there and Joe and whatever, like a lot of people that I genuinely adore like work there now, but there are definitely still some people where like I got yelled at 3 weeks ago by someone because I was leaning against the wrong wall, and I was just like, I hate it here.
Yeah, another thing with, I think, comedy clubs, but also, I don't think this is just comedy. I think this is like a weird thing that I've learned growing very old and decrepit is...
For anyone who's listening and not watching, Logan is not old or decrepit. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm 1,000.
Yeah, that is true. No, that's true.
All like people who never got to be in charge of anything when they were younger, once they find that they have a little area where they can have either a sphere of influence or people listen to them when they tell them what to do. And I don't want to say this is only men, but it is a lot of men. They
absolutely mostly men.
Hold on to that so tightly where it's like, yeah, we're door guys. We're very low on the totem pole, but some will really latch on to the idea that they get to tell people what to do. And less so other comedians, but it's like, it's not just the Comedy Store. It's like if someone runs a comedy show that people want to get on, sometimes they'll be very sort of militant in maintaining their sphere of control. And it's just a thing where you're like, oh, this is the only thing that you're able to control in your life. So that's why you care about it so much.
I could see that.
And I think that just applies in a lot of areas, but definitely with comedians where it's a difficult business. So if they found one little thing that they can control, they'll do it.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing. Yeah, I think I am someone who like genuinely enjoys like this. Like I'm very much enjoying our conversation. I enjoy these kinds of conversations. I don't, sometimes when I'm in those situations and someone's like, so what are you getting up? I'm like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
Do you actually, you don't actually care. Like,
yeah. Or it's almost like it's running like stats by each other to see who's working or who's not working. And it's just like, yeah, probably even to my detriment, where like people will be like, what are you up to? I'm like, stuff.
Yeah, but what a good answer. Stuff. That's
Yeah.
it. The thing I've like learned over time is like I say the royal you, but you're also, but the royal, your stats, accomplishments, path, it has no bearing on me.
Yeah.
If you succeed, that doesn't mean that I won't. And if you don't, it doesn't mean that I will. None of these things are interconnected in any way. So if someone's like, oh, I just did, there's a good example. Do you know Fumi Abe?
Yeah.
So Fumi just did a new late night spot.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, I don't want to, everyone can have their own opinions of him. I think he's like the sweetest guy in the world. Like he has been nothing but nice to me every time I run into him. I don't see something like that and go, well, that means one less spot for me. Like I don't see. So if someone's like, oh, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I did that. I'm like, and I saw him at the improv holiday party and I was like, that is so great.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing. Not a lot. But like, that's great. I'm super jazzed for you. I think that's amazing. I don't know why we do all this weird, like, dick measuring contest with each other.
Or I also, too, I feel like when I was earlier on in comedy, I would be obsessive about, like, I wanted to be the best.
Oh.
And I was like, it felt so far away from how I was doing was so far from the ideal, like the idealized version in my head of what I could be doing. And if I like didn't have the best set on a show and someone else did better, in my head, I would be like upset about it. And then it sort of transitioned as I'd been doing it longer, where like, yes, I hope that I'm getting better every year and that I'm improving, but it also is like, it's just nice to be surrounded by so many people that are funny. And like,
yeah,
of course you always still want to have the best set on a show, but if you don't, it's more just like, man, there's so many funny, good comedians. It's nice to be a part of this group of people, as opposed to like, I've got to be the best out of everyone. And like, granted, I am in my 30s and I'm a door guy, so this might not be the best philosophy, but it's made it, it's way easier to move around in the world when I'm not just like, oh, I wasn't the best. I just, you know what I mean? I'm just like, this is fun. I'm having fun. It's fine. I still have a roommate.
I will say, like, what's crazy is I think, like, in years past, I think about, like, what are the best things that happened to me in my comedy career? I'm like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, whatever. This year, the two most memorable moments I had, I swear to you, which are, like, so innocuous in the scheme of things. They mean nothing. There's one comic who went up after me on a show, and I got off stage, and they came up to me and after they performed, and they go, hey, loved your set. What did you think? I'm working on this joke, and I feel like you have the sensibility to help me kind of get it to where it needs to go. Like, what? Like, do you think I should do blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah? Because it feels like a kind of joke you would tell, so what would you do? And I was like, that like made my whole evening.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't about an accomplishment or anything like that. It was someone who I genuinely like, who I genuinely think is funny, coming up to me and valuing my opinion enough to ask.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is success to me. This moment. And the other one, which is really stupid, is a booker at well, I don't want to out the club, but one of the clubs in LA. I ran into them, and I'll tell you off mic all about this, but I ran into them, and they quoted one of my jokes to me, an older joke, which I have not done in over 6 months. And I was just like, and they go, I know you. And I was like, oh, great. And then they walked away, and I was with a buddy of mine, and I was just like, that booker knows a joke I haven't done in 6 months, and that booker's been working in this industry for 30 years.
I think I know who it is based on what you're saying.
Probably. And I was just shocked.
Yeah.
And I remember on the drive home, I was like that was all I needed. I don't need any of this other stuff. Like, this person who has seen hundreds, if not thousands, of comics without even a name exchange, even though apparently they know my name as well, was just like, oh yeah, I love that joke. And I was like, that's it. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
Those 2 moments, that made my year. I was good.
And I also think too, it's just the general, like, yes, if bigger opportunities come, that's always great. And it's great to seek them. But just the hope was always kind of, if someone's talking to another comedian and my name comes up
Yeah.
and it's another comedian I respect, that they go, oh yeah, she's funny. Like
Yeah.
that would be the only thing that I would hope, which again, it's hard to monetize the things that I've listed that I enjoy. So it doesn't,
It's hard to monetize anything in comedy.
It's very true. It's very, very true.
Like you look at someone like Daniel Tosh, who just started a podcast, and I'm like, do you need it?
Yeah.
Like you must if you're doing it. And I'm just like, oh man, comedy really doesn't pay.
And it is at such a weird, confusing time for comedy, which I try not to think too hard about, because then I'm like, I gotta go learn a trade right now. Like
Plumbers actually make so much money.
I know. Well, I feel like the big lie I didn't know, like plumbers, electricians, construction work into contracting, like those are all incredibly well-paying, respectable jobs, and everyone was like, you have to go to college and get a degree, which especially now with what I do, I was like, no, I did not.
Yeah.
But
Would you take it back?
No. No. No.
Oh?
But I might have gone to a UC.
Where did you go?
I went to University of Michigan for a semester.
Oh, amazing.
And then community college for a semester. And then I went to Columbia in New York. So, that's where I graduated from.
You hit 2 very impressive schools in a 4-year run.
Yes. And my favorite was community college.
Yeah. I have multiple friends that did, and I didn't know this was a thing. So that's my own mistake. But I had multiple friends as I've gotten older who were like, oh, during high school, I took some junior college courses to the point where I was able to get my associates and then parlayed that. So I only had to spend 2 years of actual money to go to a university, graduated, and then wasn't in nearly as much debt as you were. And I was like, yeah, that was a rough debt. That was rough debt.
Yeah, it was. I really thought, because the only thing, I was very good at school. And I got really good grades and stuff.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, I have to go to the best possible school and this will solve all my problems.
You went to 2 of the best possible
schools. And then once I was, and I I would do the thing where like I wouldn't do any work and then stay up for 36 hours straight, right? When stuff was due.
Yeah.
And I would do just as well as if I'd been working all semester. So then I was always just like, this is a game and I'm very good at it.
It reinforces, you're like, okay, well, if I can do this in 36, I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah. But then it was like a very different lesson going into stand up of like, oh, I can't cram for this. Do you know what I mean? Like you just have to do it a lot. But it was like, I just didn't like college. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
And then, so I would have gone to UC because that would have been way cheaper.
So
if I had
much
known
cheaper.
I wasn't going to use my degree.
What did you graduate in?
I got a psychology degree.
Yeah. I mean, I double majored in business. I could not tell you legitimately a single thing that I learned. I minored in jazz studies and performance. I remember a lot of that. But what does that do me? It doesn't really help when someone's like, I need to do my taxes. I'm like, I can't help you with that. But you want to hear a story about Duke Ellington in a bathrobe? You know?
Well, it's
like,
also,
no.
Business is such a funny degree because it sounds like it's made up by someone who doesn't know what degrees are. Where it's like, what's your degree in business?
That's exactly
like, it doesn't sound real.
Let me tell you something. My degree I was a double major in marketing and international business.
Mm-hmm.
If you gave me a list of classes and said which applied to which, I have no idea. I don't know. My favorite thing is, my fiance, as I mentioned, is like in an MBA program.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I'm going to have to take like statistics. I was like, oh yeah, I took that. She goes, well, I might need your help. And I was like, I can't. I think I got a B- or a C+ in there. I can't. I got nothing for you.
I took one statistics class, but the statistics class was like so far into the north part of campus. By the time I got there, the only seats left were in the front row, and the professor spit a lot.
No.
So I just stopped going.
Yeah.
And then I found out that all you had to do was turn in your like problem sets every week, and the answers to every problem set were at the back of the book. So I don't understand. And I never cheated on a test. I've never cheated in school. I I don't know why that mattered to me, but I was like, I'll never do it. And then, because it was a game to me where I was like, how good am I with no like juicing? How good can I be at this? It's so lame.
No, it's interesting that you turned an honor code system into a competition. You gamified being honorable.
Yeah. Well, it was also like, I didn't care what other kids, like whenever we'd get tests back, it was like, how did you do? I never gave a shit what other people got.
Well, it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. I was like, how close to 100% did I get? I don't care about what other people got. And so, yeah, I was just like, I can't cheat on anything, whatever. Anyway, it's a big waste of time.
I love that. In sum, this was a big waste of time. Before we keep going, I feel like we should get to our first segment. Do you want to get to the Newly Friend game?
Yes, I'm ready.
So the Newly Friend game, it's like the Newlywed game, but we're friends. Okay. The way that this works, I love how I took a pause there. I'm like, we're friends. I was waiting for you to go, we definitely are.
Yeah. Friend.
Besties. So I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to write down your answer. You're not going to say it out loud. I'm going to write down what I think your answer is.
Okay.
And we'll flip our boards and see if we got it right.
Okay.
And then we'll do the same or a different question for me. I am so excited about this because I knew oftentimes I will wait as a conversation goes to come up with a question to see where our conversations went. From the minute that we locked in this day and time, I already knew what my Newly Friend game question was for you.
Ooh, okay.
All right, my question for you. And it has to be edible.
Okay.
What do you think the worst possible item could be to SodaStream? The absolute worst. Don't say it. Write it down.
And it has to be an edible item.
It has to be edible. You can't because you could be like gasoline, not that, but like something that one could eat or drink, I suppose, in this case. You ready to flip your board on 3?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, flip. Tuna salad.
Milk was the first thing I SodaStreamed.
Are you serious? I wrote down milk / heavy cream. You wrote down tuna salad. How bad was milk SodaStream? Disgusting. It had to have been.
It honestly, of all the stuff because it was the first one, and since then I've done gravy, I've done like soup.
I just had a hard swallow on the gravy.
Crab, I've done.
How do you now? Hold on.
Ramen.
So my crab question comes in as well with the tuna salad question.
Okay.
How do you SodaStream something that's not a liquid?
So it ends up sitting at the bottom of the bottle. But you like shove it into the hole. However, you can get it in there.
So we're gonna clip that. Section right there.
Yeah. You just shove it in. It doesn't matter how messy it is. You just get it in there.
Yep.
And then when you can still press down so it does shoot carbon dioxide onto it, and it does make it taste weird. We did ham and peas once. Like we've done a bunch of weird stuff where you'd be like, it doesn't make a difference. But also the real thing is I just hate tuna salad. So
we need to have a conversation.
So
I love that you're holding up the board just in case anyone ever tunes in. You go, I hate tuna salad.
Everyone needs to know this about me.
So let me ask you, because I want to dig into this tuna salad comment. We'll do this for me in a second. But do you hate all kinds of salads that are like that? Like a chicken salad?
No.
Here, you can use this to erase if you want.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I had a scarring experience with tuna salad from Subway when I was like 6.
Oh my God, this is the only thing I've ever wanted out of this podcast. What happened with Subway's tuna salad?
I found a bone in it.
No.
I got a 6-inch tuna salad sandwich. I loved tuna at the time. I found a fish bone in it, and it was like mid in my throat. It was, and like to this, like the smell of tuna. It's the only food that I can't even. My mom, she was eating it in the car, and I was breathing into a chip bag because I can't even, if I can smell it from like a mile away, I can't. So it's less about SodaStreaming because mostly what we put in there is gross, but more my personal nightmare would be just even having to interact with tuna salad, putting it in there, seeing how like all of that is, I can't. I'm okay with egg salad and chicken salad. Don't love them, I'll be honest. I feel like we don't need them anymore as foods, but they don't make me sick the way that tuna salad makes me sick.
Yeah, that sounds scarring. It's funny, when I was growing up, in elementary school. That was back when my mother was still interested in making me lunches. That evaporated probably at about age 9. But, in that time when she was making them, I remember the thing that scarred me. So I actually didn't mind getting tuna salad. Tuna salad was fine. The thing I liked most, I liked tuna salad. I liked a turkey and mayo on white bread, as a simple kid. For some reason, and I think this is like New York Jews who were kids of Depression era parents kind of meal. My mother would occasionally make me a cream cheese and jelly sandwich.
I also can't eat that.
I can't eat
because my mom used to have to crush my pills into it. And so now it forever tastes like medicine to me.
But would you, if that, I guess you can't even know, if that hadn't happened, would you be like, cream cheese and jelly?
I think I didn't even think about it twice in a similar, my mom is Jewish and I feel like it's like, that is because it feels Blintz adjacent. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
that might be.
Never thought about that. I suppose that's true.
That's how the combination of like a jelly and a whatever. But I now hate that because
it makes me gag. The thought of it kind of makes me a little gaggy.
I still mixed in with the gooey jelly and the cream cheese.
Wish you hadn't just said that.
I'm so sorry. I could feel the chalkiness of whatever pills. For a while, I switched doctors. We moved and I got like a bunch of allergies. So the doctor said. And they put me on like 12 different allergy medications at once.
Absolutely not.
My mom would crush those pills into the sandwich as a way to like.
Why didn't you just say, would you like to take your pills?
At that time, that's how I learned to swallow pills.
Okay, for those who are listening and not watching, Logan took a beat and looked right down the barrel. Jesus
But
Christ.
like that, because I couldn't swallow pills, it was either eating the sandwich I hated or learning how to, because all these allergy pills were like comically large for a child to take.
Oh, I see.
So that was why. And then I hit
it.
a point where I was like, I have to learn how to swallow these. I cannot eat this sandwich anymore.
Dear God.
So.
Okay, let's quickly do the answer for me, and then
Yes.
we're going to get out of this topic. We're going to do the same theme, different question.
Okay.
Which is, what would you say would be the most surprisingly good thing to SodaStream? Not something you'd expect to be good. You
And
can't
this
be
is what
like
you think.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't do like, oh, orange juice. Like, yeah, that probably would be good.
Okay.
It's got to be a weird item. Pick something strange.
Okay.
And I'm going to find something strange too. I'll write down 2 things. If you get either one, I'll give you credit because this is a big category. What would be a really weird thing you could SodaStream that I think would actually be good? And don't write tuna salad because I don't think that would be good.
No, I won't write that. Okay, ready?
Yeah, flip it on 1, 2, 3, flip. Oh, I would definitely do the second thing you wrote. So Logan wrote marshmallow fluff and bourbon. I would definitely SodaStream bourbon. I would have no problem with that at all.
Okay, ice cream and ranch. That I can't believe we've never done ice cream.
Is
honestly.
SodaStreaming ice cream?
Yeah, we've never done it.
Oh, you've never done
No.
it. I thought you were saying I can't believe you've never done it. I was like, why would I have done it? I
But
don't
when
even
you
have
put
one.
that, I was like, that probably would be good. I'll be honest. Marshmallow fluff felt adjacent because you had said, New York Jew, East Coast. I found that marshmallow fluff is more of an East Coast food item than West Coast. So I thought maybe in the sweet realm, that might be something.
So I'll tell you this, and it wasn't fair to you. Or you can put it right over there. I love how you're like handing it to me. You're like, have this.
Here you go. I finished.
It wasn't fair to you. So I don't eat meat, which includes gelatin. So I can't eat marshmallow fluff.
Marshmallow fluff is vegan. Marshmallows are not. So I've heard.
So there is some vegan marshmallow fluff. Some of the marshmallow fluff still uses gelatin, animal gelatin. So that wasn't fair to you. Ice cream, I feel like. So I'm gonna mess up the name of it, but there was like it was a little Jewish and a little East Coast. They used to have these things. I'm gonna get crushed in the comments for this. These things where they would have it was like soda. It was like ice creamy sodas that they would have, and I can't remember what they were. Egg creams.
Egg
creams.
Yeah.
So they kind of did that a little bit.
Well, that my grandpa would order chocolate phosphate, which is a lot like that. This sounds bad, but it's pretty good. It's soda water with chocolate syrup, and then you add cream to it.
Okay, so I've never seen the cream ad. It makes much more sense to me. I believe it was either my grandma or my father that once ordered that.
Yeah, that's what he would get at a deli. But I feel like ice cream could also be interesting to see. You melt it and SodaStream it, and then you refreeze it and see what happens.
How did you come to a place where you were just like, hey, you know what we should start doing? We should start SodaStreaming things. Like, where did you... Well, one day you were just kind of bored and you're like, you know what? This is comedy adjacent. Let's SodaStream.
It was the pandemic.
This started in the pandemic. Oh, you get free passes for days on whatever you did in the pandemic.
And it was just every night it would hit around 7 p.m. and I would just hit the bong that I bought for the pandemic.
I'm sorry, you bought a pandemic-specific bong.
Well, the world was going to shit, and I was like, I'm going to order this bong online.
It was a nice one, wasn't it?
Honestly, no. It was I found this thing. It's an attachment that can turn any water bottle into a bong. And
like a Nalgene or like a plastic water bottle.
As long as it has threads, like a bottle. So it could be plastic. I use glass because I was like, I'm not going to smoke out of plastic anymore. In my youth.
Thank you for adding that tail on.
I've definitely done it.
Yeah.
But like you screw on, it has its own threads on the inside and it fits like a standard bottle. And then there's a glass stem that goes into it. So I bought that, and I was also like, instead of having to clean out a nice bong, I just switched to a new glass bottle when so I would get super high and then have nothing to do. And my roommate was also there. And I had an extra SodaStream because we have two, one that is for actual water and one that's disgusting that we do
all this gross stuff.
Yeah. I don't want to
probably
lift the veil too much, but, yeah, once you put soup in a SodaStream, you don't want to drink out of it.
I would absolutely have SodaStream soup. It sounds good to me.
But that literally the first video was I did milk, I did tomato soup.
Yeah, I would have eaten that.
And it was like, because we were joking in the kitchen, I was like, oh, what if we SodaStream soup? And I ask you if you want soup, and you say yes, and then I go still or sparkling. And we thought that's
very funny.
Very funny. And then we did eggs, which actually made a very fluffy omelet. But it was like we started getting, I mean, in no way compared to what actual TikTok virality is. It was not anything like that, but like I had just gotten a TikTok and then it was like we got up to like 50,000 followers, like from SodaStreaming. So we kept doing it because we had nothing else to do. And then we broke one of the SodaStreams. Someone bought us one.
No, that did not.
Yeah, someone donated one.
That did not.
Someone donated one. And so we were like, well, we can't disappoint our patrons.
Oh my God.
We have to.
You start an OnlyFans for the SodaStreaming.
That's what we should have. And then all I did was make a video showing the prank that I'd made this fake OnlyFans, where like it was just screenshots of the DMs, setting up the account, showing like what the actual photo was, which is not sexual at all. But sure. I had said, like I had written, so I got an OnlyFans like as text that I put on the screen. And at TikTok, if you even mention OnlyFans, you get banned because there's so many people legitimately trying to promote their OnlyFans that it's a way to weed out people who are just trying to get more traffic and then funnel it over to their paid dirty content. And because TikTok is a Christian app, whatever it is.
It would be like smarter to advertise on Pornhub.
Yeah, well, which yes, I've also done. Yeah,
oh, I know.
You know that I've also done that.
I sure do.
So that kind of didn't put the kibosh, but we started making SodaStream videos way less often because it was fun when you were getting positive feedback, but then like the world opened back up and we were like, we're going to start from square one. Like, what are we going to, and then also a couple other people became like very internet famous for SodaStreaming stuff. And we were both just like, so we do it for love of the game, but you know, we have a couple things we still want to SodaStream that perhaps we'll do in the year of our Lord 2024, but we'll see.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I hate to do this because I know we've talked mostly about SodaStreaming, but I don't want to hold you too long. Are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready.
It's 5 fast questions, but it doesn't at all have to be fast answers.
Okay.
They're the same 5 questions we end every episode with.
Okay.
I keep them on an index card because it makes me feel like a late night talk show host.
Okay.
Well, I had someone on the other day who was just like, you got to tap it. So I was like,
yeah,
okay.
They do that. And then you throw it at the end.
I want to throw it. I also want to do like, I want to say it was like Rosie O'Donnell who used to do that, where she would like have couches and just like chuck them in the audience and like pencils, and I want to do all that. So question 1, what is a favorite ritual of yours?
Favorite ritual of mine.
So like I love brewing tea in the morning.
Well, it's interesting. I always make tea in the morning and a cappuccino in the morning.
You do both side by side?
No, well, usually I start with tea as I'm slowly waking up.
Okay.
And then about an hour after that, I will then make a cappuccino that I will microwave and sip on all day, which disgusts everyone who finds that out.
Well, it might be weird if you're using traditional dairy milk. If you're using an alt milk, probably not.
Yeah, it's a unsweetened soy milk foams the best of all the alt milks.
Okay.
Because sometimes if you get like an almond milk or like cappuccino,
almond milk won't foam.
Almond milk won't foam. Oat milk's fine, but I don't want it to be sweet. I'm very particular about like I want it just taste the coffee and feel like I'm getting hit in the face with caffeine. But it's I've been with my boyfriend a long time, love him very much. I will sometimes leave in the morning because I want to go make a cappuccino. The nice thing is then I stopped going to coffee shops, but now that I can just make it on my own, I will go home to make it because I would rather do that and have my morning where I'm just,
No, I love that. One thing that you said that makes me really happy is I've gotten multiple DMs about that I've said this on the pod before, that I drink coffee and I drink tea, and people are like, that's blasphemous. They're like, this is a tea podcast where I talk about coffee, and I'm like, I'm not talking about the intricacies of coffee, but I also drink coffee. Like I had some coffee this morning, and I'm having tea with you. Like I do both, and it's so nice to meet someone else who's like, yeah, I drink both.
Yeah,
normally.
And also like why? For me, it's. I mean, I guess it tastes good. I'm like drinking it and leaving the tea bag in the whole time. It's more just a slow. How much caffeine can we get in here before I can get up? And also I say the morning, it's around 11 to noon because I was up till 4.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
You're running late shifts, I think, at the store.
It's late. And then also I will then sit on the computer or watch something stupid on TV till like 4 because I just want to have some me time to unwind, which is dumb. Because
I am so, as soon as you were saying that, I'm like, oh my God, Logan, me too. Like if, especially, I was on an 11:30 show about a month ago, and I came home and I would have loved to be in bed by 1, but I came home and I was like, cool, now I need to bring my system down.
Yeah.
I am not able to just go, oh, did that. All right, bed.
Yeah. I have to sit and stare at something stupid on my computer. It's never productive. And I do wish, but I wish I could cut it off a little sooner. Like if I did like an hour after, great, but it'll be like 4:30 and I'm reading like the Wikipedia page for the actress CC Pounder.
I don't even know who that is.
She's on NCIS New Orleans.
Okay. No, obviously. I don't know why I didn't think about that. The classic NCIS.
Once you see her, you'll be like, I do know who that is. She's had quite a career. But so that's also probably
she's no Richard Belzer. I mean, you have to
she's no Detective Munch. But so that's another ritual I enjoy. But one that I feel is the morning coffee tea one is a healthier way to start my day versus the evening look at Reddit till my eyes bleed.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Question 2: what is a running bit you have with a friend or partner that makes you laugh?
Oh man, what is a running bit that I have? Well, right now with my family, I can't cook. I'm a terrible cook.
I would not have guessed that. Okay.
Thank you.
You SodaStream. You seem to know a lot about science. I would have just guessed you're a good cook.
Microwave all my food.
There's something wrong with that. That's why it exists.
But it's like I don't care about taste. So I don't
genuinely don't know what to do with you anymore.
Anyway, I'm a bad cook, but we had a family dinner. It wasn't Thanksgiving, but it was around then. But my mom made this side dish that had pasta in it. And I cooked the pasta and people were nervous that I was going to not do a good job because that's how bad I am at cooking is I could fuck up boiling pasta. And I did it perfectly al dente. And
that's great.
Now whenever we're eating anything, I'm always like, this is good, but it's just not as good as that pasta that was perfectly cooked at that dinner. And my boyfriend who couldn't go is in our family group chat and he was like, sorry, I missed the dinner. I heard the pasta was cooked perfectly. So anytime I can bring it up, I have been doing that often.
So one thing I love, what you mentioned there is that your boyfriend is part of your family's group chat. So, feel free to get your tomatoes ready and throw them at me. I am on an Android and,
I knew when I texted you.
Yeah. And my fiance's, sister, not girlfriend, sister, though, I have such a feminine edge. People might say I'm a girl.
Yeah.
My fiance's sister, goes, just so you know, like you're not going to be a part of the group chat on Android. And I was like, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, great. I say this with no ill will to people that love group chats, generally speaking, but like one less group chat on my phone is a great thing.
That is, I don't have a very active social life. I'm not very busy, but because of the group chats I'm in, I have like 800 texts.
It's like homework.
And like, so people will look at my phone and be like, oh, like you're very busy. I'm like, no, this is like 3 separate group chats that won't stop talking.
Question 3. What is a controversial opinion that you have?
I don't eat meat.
Neither do I.
But I'll make it's a vegetable, but I make a meatball salad is what I call it. And it's a salad with vegetarian meatballs on it. And then I put ketchup and mustard on it. It's a salad dressing. So I guess when I say maybe that's my controversial opinion is ketchup and mustard can be a salad dressing.
I mean that
in a pinch.
I think that's a hotter take than the microwave take.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this meal correctly because I don't want to mischaracterize it.
Okay.
When you say salad, you're talking about like lettuce.
That I don't heat up that part.
I would hope not.
Yeah. Just the meatballs.
Okay, but so we're starting with a base of lettuce.
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe some like onion or tomato or just
lettuce, tomato.
Sure.
Avocado if I've got it.
Sure.
Sometimes a little bit of sauerkraut because I like to get silly.
I don't even know what to say to you half the time. So sauerkraut, which is fermented, it's good for you.
It's for my gut health.
Yeah, of course. I've been worried about your gut health, and I'm glad you're.
Sometimes I drink the juice in that jar just as a little aperitif, and then I heat the meatballs up. Sometimes I do hot dog salad. It's the same salad but a veggie hot dog.
What are the brands that we're looking at here? Are you doing like meat imitations like a Beyond, or are you doing like Amy's, like more
like Gardein? It's the cheaper one. Like they're frozen soy meatballs. Sometimes I'll go through, like for a while I would do Beyond.
We have Beyond meatballs in the house, I think. I don't actually know, but
they would be really, I loved Trader Joe's veggie meatballs because they're very tiny. And that would always bother me. It's like all the other veggie meatballs, like a serving is 3 and they're big. But the Trader Joe's ones, the serving is like 6, and they're like
I prefer that.
The size of like a gumball.
Yeah,
and
I want like a baby aspirin pop in there. Yeah.
And so I would then heat those up. Sometimes if I was feeling nasty, I would put cheese on it so it would melt over the top, and maybe some frozen peas. And then I would heat all that up in the microwave, and then I throw that steaming pile of shit on top of the cold salad. Squirt ketchup and mustard all over it, and then eat it lying down in my bed.
That is... I want to be clear about something. We've had people come on here. Their controversial opinion was like if someone shows up to like a rally in Nazi regalia, you should be able to mow them down. They don't even need a fair trial. We've had other people come on here and be like, if you're fundamentally religious, like fundamental religious, you're crazy. This may be the hottest take that we've ever had on this podcast. That is... I'm not at all yucking your yum. Like I'm sure it's
you
good.
Can.
No,
Everyone does.
But I won't. I'll just say that's the most surprising combination of like hot fake meat with cheese, obviously.
Yeah.
And then ketchup and mustard and sauerkraut
peas.
And sometimes frozen peas on top of lettuce and tomato.
Yeah.
Do you mix it all up?
It depends. Sometimes I'll mix it a little and then you know when you just do something every day and never say it out loud, and then the few times you have to, you're like, yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah, I would say that something is.
But here's what I'll maintain.
Okay.
Nobody bats an eye when someone has like a mustard vinaigrette or a honey mustard dressing.
That's true.
Nobody bats an eye when someone has a tomato basil vinaigrette or like
I actually love a tomato basil vinaigrette.
Thank you very much. So then I'm cutting out all the middlemen. And I will say too, the ketchup stays more on the fake meat product. Okay. The mustard, I'll get that wherever I want.
Let it rip.
Yeah, get all over the place.
Yeah.
But the ketchup is more, usually my cooking is so bad, I have to put enough ketchup and mustard on it to make it be like, well, that's not bad.
But you're just not actually cooking anything here. You're heating up someone else's cooking.
Well, yes, but for me, this is the most that I am capable of doing.
Okay, one day I'm going to have you over for an actual meal. All right, question 4. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there a moment that really sticks with you?
Yes, but only in situations where it was warranted. So there are definitely times where I should have probably experienced it in comedy, but I worked for a startup, and was given like a big promotion and openly was like, I'm bad at this job, don't promote me. And they did it anyway. Or like I did temp work for like a real estate agency. So anytime I've been like, I shouldn't have this job, I'm a fraud. It has been jobs where I had no training for that job and should not have had it. So maybe that's not imposter syndrome. Maybe that's just
justified.
Yeah, it was reality. Comedy, it's less like, oh, I shouldn't be here. It's more, this might not go well, I guess, is my...
Which I think is a very healthy reaction to anything.
Yeah, I'm just like, this could be bad. And then I laugh.
Yeah, every time I step foot on a stage in the Comedy Store, immediately, as my foot is about to hit the stage, I go, oh, this probably isn't going to go great.
Yeah, but also in a fun, weird mix, like a lot of the time when I'm like, oh, this is going to go well, and it doesn't. Similarly, there are other times where I'm like, there's no way this is going to be good. And then it goes better. So I'm like, the real answer is just, it's never going to be what you think it's going to be.
Yep,
so whether it's the one you thought was going to be great and isn't, or the one you didn't care about that turns out great. So, but yeah, maybe it's just because, I haven't been put in enough situations where it's a big enough deal that I would feel like an imposter.
Listen, you have 50,000 SodaStream followers.
That is true.
Nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's right. I got to get him back.
One day
I'll get him back. Yeah.
Final question for you. Typically, I say, what is your favorite tea or comfort? But I know you drink tea. So what is your favorite tea?
What is my favorite tea? I've gone through phases.
Yeah, sure.
For a long time, like every day I do have an English breakfast. Granted, it's like I buy it in bulk. It's like a Newman's Own.
Sure.
But for a while I was very into Earl Grey.
Okay.
And then for a while I was very into chai, but not like not authentic, add milk, do all that. It was just brewed in hot water. But I also there's a tea at Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. Yeah. Called African Nectar. And I believe...
Is it Mighty Leaf?
It is Mighty Leaf. And I believe it's herbal. That was the only thing getting in the way is I wanted a little bit of...
I loved that
caffeine. Tea. Man, but I really liked that tea. That's a very good tea.
I think that's a great answer.
Thank you.
Well, Logan, that's the episode. How do you feel?
I feel jazzed.
Thank you for coming. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much for having me in your beautiful homestead.
Oh, stop. But keep going. I like the compliments.
You do have a beautiful home.
Oh, thank you.
It's very well put together, which is rare for people in this line of work. I don't know if you know.
I would say the credit is so far away from me in that instance. But I will say, anyone who's watching, I had a big influence on the couch.
And it's a great couch.
There you go. We did it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Logan Guntzelman. You can find her on Instagram at Places I Took a Shit This Year and TikTok at Places I Took a Shit Again. This episode was produced by Lucas Marshka. Our editor is Martin Alvarez. Our theme song and additional music are by Oliver Hymack. Our cover art was done by Neil Fraser with photography by Matt Mazisco. Social media by Dia Villegas. Please write a review and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts and wherever else you can. You can send any questions, comments, newly friend game suggestions, or tea suggestions to steepcombos@gmail.com or tweet us at steepcombos. I'm Josh Lanzet, and you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Josh Lanzet. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping.
That TikTok account, also, I've been banned twice. But... So
you seem like I don't know how to explain this to people. Like, you are so nice and like you seem so genuine and so authentic. And at the same time, there's like a wild edge to you that sits underneath it all that just can like bare its head like a hedgehog spikes just coming out.
Yeah, I like to burn it all down